All right, so thank you for joining us. So I know others will join, but I prefer to start and to put you up to speed to what I will discuss today. And please feel free to ask questions toward the end of the event, or to input them into the chat box. Okay, so thank you all for being here. At the monthly events of the engagement circle, you can get the best insights for your business from the best speakers. We usually discuss different topics. Some of them are closely related with lead generation, sales. We try to be valuable for the current problems of the businesses in our networks. Some of them are not really strictly correlated with LinkedIn lead generation. Today's agenda, we'll have a LinkedIn lead generation content block. I will explain you these two strategies that I tested and validated. I will then have a Q&A moment. I think it's important to have a dialogue instead of a monologue. So these events are usually pretty interactive. We will have 3 spotlights because I like to share the stage with other experts. So I make an introduction, and then we have another Q&A towards the end, and we will stay until the questions end, right? So you can, if you don't have the time to ask me questions at the end of my presentation, then just please make sure that you write them down, because I will stop again toward the end of the event with you guys, and I will allow more interaction, more questions. This event is recorded for you and our list members, so please make sure to mute yourself for a quality audio of the recording, okay? And if you don't want to show up inside in the recording, just put your camera off. Today, I'm excited because I want to share with you 2 strategies that I tested and validated during the last 3 years, and that I think will bring a benefit to all of you. We speak about a different strategy for B2C and B2B to reach your target audience on LinkedIn. So I'm going to ask you, please, to interact with me in the chat box and type if you're looking for a B2C strategy, or for a B2B, or for both. And if you also want to introduce yourself and where you're from, and share your LinkedIn profile, you are welcome to do that. We usually also enjoy fine networking during these events, okay? Yeah, so I'm going to put my chat in the picture so I can see B2B, B2C, B2B, both. B2B, oh, that's great. Thank you very much for answering. I'm gonna allow you to continue to share, as I would like to tailor my presentation to be valuable for the audience in the room, right? Okay, so before I give you the 2 strategies, I just want to spend 2 lines about me, because if you join my events, you know already who I am and what I do. So for those who don't know me, very briefly, I'm your host. I host these events. Ramona Tufaru. You can follow me on LinkedIn, of course. You can discover a little bit about me on LinkedIn. My sweet spot is B2B digital prospecting and lead generation with LinkedIn hyper-personalized approach, outreach. I like to create formulas to communicate meaningfully with our audiences. I'm author of the book, The LinkedIn Machine, How to Get More Clients on LinkedIn. I also build digital funnels for NGOs for smart fundraising. So let's get into it, okay? And I hope you're ready, guys, because I'm very creative with these strategies. And again, I tested and validated all of them. So I speak with confidence, and you can ask me questions on how to implement them. For the B2C, the strategy that I recommend is to run a competition on LinkedIn. And I know that this is very common on Facebook. For example, we've heard many times of the contest or the challenge, right? So here's the thing. If your target audience, if your target audience includes professional adults with a high position on their companies or high earners, LinkedIn is the ideal place to market your brand. And one of the most effective ways to do that is to create a LinkedIn giveaway contest. Here's why you should run a contest on LinkedIn. So let me give you a context. Majority of users are on the platform to improve knowledge. So this means that they are actually looking for opportunities to engage with businesses, to engage with service providers. All right. And then LinkedIn has the best organic reach of all social media networks. So if you're running contests on LinkedIn, you have a much better chance of reaching your ideal audience. And the 50% of social media traffic to website, these are stats, comes from LinkedIn, increasing traffic from LinkedIn contests. All right. So this is a very creative way of attracting your B2C. So the question that I am asked very often when I propose this strategy is, do I create this contest from the business website or from my company page on LinkedIn? You might think that actually it's best to run your LinkedIn competition from your company page, but I disagree on that. After all, and the reason why a lot of people think that is best to run this contest from the LinkedIn page is because they know that the LinkedIn page is followed for brand news and updates. So it kind of makes sense, but I disagree with that approach. If you want to get the LinkedIn users to spend time on your website, a better solution is to host your giveaway from your business site, then to promote it on LinkedIn. So you have to create a formula that includes your website. Plus, when you host your LinkedIn contest from your website, you can also encourage users to subscribe to your email list, get people to visit specific product pages, suggest relevant content they'd like, get valuable feedback from your audience, promote other social media profiles, and a lot more. So the website is really the place where you want to drive, you want to lead them, all right? Because it's your home, it's your business card. Having more people engaging with your website is also an excellent way to reduce your website's bounce rate. And this is really important to rank higher on Google search, okay? So before creating your LinkedIn contest, there are a few things to consider. It would be best if you planned each stage carefully so that you can get the best results for your brand. So don't just go tomorrow, I'll put out a contest. Plan a little bit upfront, create a strategy and to support your activity, and you'll see amazing results in terms of quality leads. So a few steps, I want to give you a few steps, and guys, I will explain a little bit more in a PDF that I will share with you via email. And of course, if you have questions, I'm going to stop also after I present also the B2B, and you can ask me more. Okay, so the steps that I want you to plan upfront. First, you need to set a LinkedIn competition goal. What is your goal? Is it to subscribe to your list X number of leads? Is it to approach a new target audience? What is your goal on LinkedIn, all right? Choose your LinkedIn contest prize and make it relevant to the target audience you are trying to attract, okay? Determine the rules for the LinkedIn promotion. You have to have some rules in order to then make someone win the prize, all right? Create a LinkedIn contest landing page inside your website, because there is where we want our people to stop by and give us the data. Promote your contest on LinkedIn and create engaging content, funny content with different formats. Pick a giveaway winner after you complete the contest and follow up with all participants. This is really, really, really important. I want you to focus both on the previous part when you launch the contest, but also the second part, the follow-up, in order to engage more of those that participated to the contest and promote your brand, promote your services, and really land some interesting sales conversations. And of course, everybody knows that I'm big on measuring. And so you need to measure your LinkedIn competition results. All right. So brief, sweet. I presented my B2C strategy. I know you have questions. I'm going to allow one question now, and then I'm going to go into the B2B, and I will have more questions after that. Who wants to ask me a question about this strategy?
I have got a question, Ramona. So
yeah,
you were talking about the goal and then the prize. What do you mean with the prize? Do you mean that people need to pay for the contest to be part of, or is it the winning prize?
The prize is the gift. So what are you giving in exchange? Indeed, indeed. So for example, I can run a contest and I give for free one book, my book, and the purpose of the contest is to subscribe people to my list, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty much the strategy.
Do you have an example of a contest so that we can get, you know, that I can get inspired, you know?
Indeed, because I know that I am presenting very creative ideas during these conversations, I also prepare some materials that I send after the conversation. And in that PDF that I will share with you after this conversation with the recording, I prepare so many examples with text and pictures, because when I present something, to me is really, really important to give you the step to implement it. And then, of course, you can get back to me if you have questions, if you want to do a more strategic approach, if you want to create a more strategic approach. So in that PDF, I will share examples, and I will give you even the text and the process to create this B2C approach. All right. So let me move into the B2B, because I saw that we have a bigger audience for the B2B. And this, I'm really excited to present this to you guys, because I'm getting into something more technical and some more innovative. And again, I tested and validated this solution. So my strategy for the B2B is account-based marketing in combination with LinkedIn prospecting and hyper-personalization outreach. All right. So first, even before I start the presentation and I give you insights on all these parts, do you guys know what account-based marketing is? Yes or no into the chat box. In the chat box. Okay. I want to understand if you know what is account-based marketing. Yes, no, no, no. All right. Keep going, keep answering if you have a clear idea of what is account marketing and how to implement it. Catherine, yes. Angelino, no. Okay, so I have a clear idea on how this audience receives my content. Okay, then what about hyper-personalized outreach? Have you ever heard of it? Have you implemented that? Do you know what it is? Yes or no in the chat box, please. Okay, it's no, no, no. All right. No, keep going with the answer so then I know how to create this conversation. Thank you so much for participating to the dialogue. It's really, really important. Okay, so let me get into it and present you the context of this strategy. And again, I prepare some steps for you to implement right away. So I suggest you take some notes, because this is a bit more technical, a bit more for the marketing geeks in the room as I am, and the sales experts, let's say. So Gartner defines account-based marketing as a go-to-market strategy in which a supplier targets a set of named contacts and accounts representing significantly higher expansion or growth opportunities to receive tailored marketing and sales support. So instead of marketing really wide audiences, we market per a group of accounts and a group of people inside those accounts, and we extrapolate a tailored marketing and sales support for those accounts, okay? Account-based marketing enables marketers to prioritize high-value personalization opportunities through these 4 steps, all right? Stay with me because I'm going to guide you through those 4 steps. Step number 1, you need to build a list of high-priority accounts. Work with your sales team to select accounts using an ideal customer profile that sorts targets by industry, by organization size, by purchase history, geography, or other characteristics, okay? And extrapolate these groups. Ideally, your customer profile should be data-driven and correlated with positive commercial results. So I want you to take your history, I want you to analyze that history and extrapolate data. And based off those data that created success, you then create the list of accounts that you want to target. Step number 2, you collect customer insights to identify account needs. Data, again, is really, really important. So I want you to focus on insights. Invest in understanding each account thoroughly. The organization's objectives, key stakeholders and their responsibilities, buyers' critical purchasing tasks, the information needed throughout the buyer journey. This enables you to personalize by industry and by account, right? And stakeholders are also part of the game. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to personalize not anymore by groups of personas, but by specific personas inside these clusters, inside this group of accounts. And you want to consider intent data. Information on online user behaviors collected within your organization or by third parties to anticipate your target accounts purchase and buying patterns. And LinkedIn is an amazing place to do this. So that's why I couple account-based marketing with LinkedIn prospecting and then with hyper-personalization. It's like a step-by-step process. So what I want to give you now is my formula for LinkedIn prospecting. So we said that you need to collect customer insights. So how do you do that? I use a formula that is called target, understand, and engage. And I want to give you the step-by-step process for each of these 3 categories, right? And here is where I really suggest you to take some notes for you. So in the target part of the formula, you want to target the right buying committee. Remember, inside those companies, it's not just one person that influenced the decision of buying your services, is a group of people, right? And you need to target them all. Use LinkedIn Advanced Search to identify the right decision makers. Then map out the buying committee to determine where effort should be concentrated and where the critical players have a role, fit in, right? And connect with your coworkers to expand your network. There's an amazing feature in Sales Navigator where you can use and leverage your network to do that. The second part is understand. Understand your prospects and their business. Again, you have to check thoroughly. You have to make a research that is a very extensive research on their business. You have to be prepared. Evaluate the prospect's LinkedIn profile to learn about their needs and pain points. View their recent activity. Monitor their activity, including content that they share, comments that they left. I want you to be able to even extrapolate interest, the way they speak, what they value, what is their behavior, okay? Look for commonalities between you and your prospects. Subscribe to their blogs if they have a blog. Read their articles. Subscribe to their podcast, for example. Learn as much as you can of your decision makers. And keep track of the trigger events. So these are so important. The trigger events are opportunities to engage with prospects, including job changes, news mentions, connecting with someone in your network, and more. I remember one of our members shared with me an automation tool to send a message every single time there's a job change or a connection request accepted. So you want to implement these little tools that will help you to capitalize on those trigger events. Then the last part is engage through the deal cycle. You want to engage at each step, engage with insight, tracking metrics continuously. You have to identify those fruitful interactions and identify the disconnects. Something stops a deal is a disconnect. You need to know about that. Stay active on LinkedIn, share content, stay in front of these people. I think that the part of the content is so important, and we have two ways of sharing content, because we have the public LinkedIn profile where we share content, but we also have Sales Navigator where you can share content that is more private, more in-depth. Okay, leverage your network to seek out new connections and reach out with the right content at the right time and context. Create that context. Don't just reach out because for the sake of reaching out. Okay, so I know you might have questions. I please ask you to input them into the chat box. I will get back to them in a few minutes. I just want to give you also step 3 and step 4, and then stop for at least 5-10 minutes for a dialogue. So you've done the prospecting on LinkedIn and you extrapolated insights and data, and you start to know very well your buying committee, very well your accounts. Here is where personalization, hyper-personalization keeps into the picture, okay? And again, I know that some of you don't know what is hyper-personalization. I write blogs and I will absolutely explain a little bit more about that moving forward. Here, what is important is to understand first how this hyper-personalization can be used in this strategy, and then we go deeper with the understanding of what it is and how to implement it. So determine where personalization enables you to offer customer help. All personalization execution must offer customers a sort of help, whether it is helping them complete a buying task, learn something new, or feel more confident about their purchasing decision. So personalized web or marketing content perceived as helpful increases the likelihood that the customers will make a high quality purchase by 9%, according to Gartner research. So it's helpful content. Start from the perspective of helping your customers at each step of the buyer journey. And once this is done, right, you put together everything, you run a pilot. So I'd rather prefer you to have 25 accounts with a 60% conversion rate rather than 1,000 accounts with a 1% conversion rate. Okay, so I don't know if I said something stupid there, but I prefer you to focus on a group of accounts and have a very high conversion rate. You know very well your accounts, instead of focusing of a big number. Why is that? Because I want you to run a pilot. So the strategy that I presented you, the ABM plus LinkedIn prospecting plus hyper-personalization, is great for scaling. Okay, so scale by amplifying successful pilot projects. So let's go with 25 accounts. Let's extrapolate an amazing buyer journey. Let's collect insights through a structured LinkedIn approach, LinkedIn prospecting approach. And let's use MarTech in order to collect more data, in order to foresee the behavior of our prospects and leads. And then once you identify all these elements of success, you can scale it up. You can go for bigger numbers. Okay, so for example, you may want to start your personalization efforts with a small set of top-tier accounts on LinkedIn. This segment receives highly resourced one-on-one personalization. The second tier receives some tailored content, whereas the third tier receives some generic mass market content. You can glean insights and organizations in the same industry and apply the same tactics to the second tier and third tier. So what I suggest is that you go from the highest priority tier that also apply to a subset of the second tier. It's a little bit technical, right? But if you start to know how accounts work and LinkedIn Sales Navigator works, you also understand the first tier, second tier, and third tier. Replicating or using personalization practices in this way enables marketers to deliver more effective personalizations to more accounts without necessarily investing more resources. One of the most common problems that we have with our prospects and clients is that they don't have a big budget for these strategies because it's new, because they don't really know, they don't really see how this can be implemented, right? So because of that, we really need to contain costs. So we need to create pilots that then we can scale up. Executing these high impact B2B personalization initiatives can strain marketing resources. So we don't want that. Account-based marketing offers a cost-effective approach. Now, I know I delivered a little bit more technical content. My audience is used to listen to something more easy, but we are growing with this LinkedIn. We are implementing new strategies for those who are executing LinkedIn lead generation beautifully, and they want a little bit more. They want to scale up. They want to execute also a digital first selling approach. They want to grow their MarTech. They really want to put all the pieces together, right? So this is a strategy that is more complex, and I am ready to answer some questions on this B2B strategy, of course. Are you still with me, guys? And then, okay, so please unmute yourself and ask questions. We have at least 5-10 minutes available for us to have a dialogue. Yeah, someone wants to ask a question?
Yeah, hi Ramona.
Helena, yes, sorry, yes. Now I saw your raised hand.
Yeah, so actually what I wanted to say is that this strategy which you propose actually will help us engage better with the community that we already have on LinkedIn. Because as I see many of us, I see professionals like ourselves, they put accent that they have, I don't know, a lot of connections on LinkedIn. Hundreds, thousands, it depends on however they manage to put their connect. But the real issue on this basic usage of LinkedIn is that, okay, I have, I don't know, 10,000 contacts there, but whenever I share a content which I do believe that it's valuable, I have only 3 or 5 clicks, which means for me, either the content that I'm sharing, it's not relevant, either the content that I'm sharing doesn't appear in front of all my contacts, right?
Yeah. So let me make a difference here. Is really, really important to be on the same page. So the engagement that you have on LinkedIn is really driven by the algorithm. So it's not really correlated with how many followers you have. It's only correlated with the kind of activity you do and the algorithm and how it plays out. Okay, so that's one thing. And the content you share on your LinkedIn profile, the free version, or anyway, in your feed, let's say, it is a little bit different from the personalization I'm discussing here. So the content I'm discussing here is more a pitch deck, a white paper, a business case that you share throughout the buyer journey. So let's make a difference. So for example, you can share content on your LinkedIn in order to create brand awareness. And then you identify a group of companies that you want to attract. And based on those companies and the industry and the stakeholders and the people inside of companies, you decide to create more in-depth, tailor-made content that you don't usually share on the LinkedIn profile. You usually share either via email or either via Sales Navigator, the emails. You share in a more private setup because you are actually making an hypothesis and solving already a problem of the client. You are offering help. So I'm talking about different things. Now, it is real that a lot of people, especially sales and marketing, have a huge network that is not responding well to their activity on LinkedIn. So that's why I'm saying, first of all, you need to take your 10,000 contacts and understand if you really have the decision makers in the industry you are targeting or the accounts you are targeting. One. Second, do you have the buying committee of the companies that you are targeting? So you need to understand your network. Is it a relevant network or no? Because maybe you change career 5 times and you have 90% of your network from your previous career and it doesn't serve you now that you are a consultant. One. Second, the strategy that I present is really more like a sales-oriented strategy that gets a backup from the marketing, right? So choosing a group of accounts and creating a tailor-made approach really is a sales decision. So I decide to target these group accounts. And so it doesn't matter if you have already a network or no, because you can build it, right? Or you don't, you just create everything in Sales Navigator and you work from Sales Navigator. So I don't think I answered your question directly, but I kind of create a context on how to think of the content that you create on the platform and the engagement you have and the content that is useful for this strategy.
Yeah, no, this is true. But, you know, whenever we talk about LinkedIn, people are used to what they actually do. So they create their profile and they share content there. So it's very well pointed out that if you use the next step, which is, for example, the Sales Navigator, you are actually able to create engagement with the peers you are looking for. And you don't need to be connected like through your basic profile. You can already start engaging with them like this. And you can concentrate only on those. Yeah. So thank you.
And also, you're welcome. And thank you for asking the question. Also, it's very important to understand that the B2B strategy that I presented here perhaps is more adapted for a scale-up, for a company that has a marketing and sales department, requires more steps for the implementation, requires more organization for the implementation. So it's not really adapted for a solopreneur or a consultant. I'm talking about, let's say, a consultancy firm that is trying to approach accounts that are bigger, that are more complex, and offer a high ticket package, a service that is expensive. So the decision to buy that service is a company decision, a buying committee decision. So I want to help you understand this, okay? So who else wants to ask questions? So Rajuna says, I don't have any buyers in my network, mostly people that interacted with my post and engineers, not buyers. See, so that is an issue that must be resolved. If you target accounts, if you target companies, you need to acquire the addressable market. You need to understand the number of accounts, the buying committee in each account, and you need to start acquiring this network in order then to be able to propose your services, okay? So who comes from companies and marketing departments or sales departments and want to ask a question about this strategy? Everything clear? Oh, that's great. That's absolutely great. So, okay, let's move into the second part, and I will stop by toward the end again to continue the conversation. So, the engagement circle is like a joint venture circuit on LinkedIn, is a community of extraordinary leaders, coach, consultants, speakers, trainers. We share knowledge and add value to our network. So sometimes I'm on the stage and I share the stage with the other professionals. Sometimes I am a guest speaker and I create a stage for some of the professionals inside our engagement circle. I do believe in the power of collaboration and supporting each other throughout on LinkedIn to create more visibility and engagement, and of course demand for our services. So after the event I will share with you a members ebook, so you get to know these experts and you get access to their services. I want to introduce you to 3 of them tonight. ERWIN WILS from the Netherlands, Emilio Fayances from Spain, and Joel Baker from the United States. And they have different profiles, they offer different services, they have different areas of expertise and target audiences. So who wants to start and who wants to share about them? And I'm going to ask just a few simple questions. Erwin, do you want to start?
Sure, no problem.
All right. So please share who you are and what you do with whom, and share about your experience with the engagement circle.
Sure. I'm ERWIN WILS. I'm a mindset and business strategist at Millionaire Life Strategy. I like to empower people, inspire people, and surround myself with people that are ambitious as I am, because I think it's important to surround yourself with people that will elevate you. And that's actually what the engagement circle does in a matter of way. You know, we share knowledge, we share experiences with each other, we celebrate wins, and it's a very positive environment to be in.
Thank you so much for sharing, Erwin. And so who do you work with? Who's your target audience, and how do you reach them on LinkedIn, for example?
Yeah, my target, my niche is female entrepreneurs and tech entrepreneurs. I like to empower them to boost the business and themselves. You know, we limit ourselves without realizing it. We're much more capable than we think we are, and have a very simple yet effective way of proving that. And in case somebody thinks they're doing the best they can, I would like to challenge you. And my clients are on LinkedIn. They're entrepreneurs, you know, they find themselves their clients as well. And it's a professional network, you know. Instead of Facebook, it's more social. It's not so professional, you know, and that's why I like LinkedIn the most. Oh, your microphone is off, Ramona.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for sharing. Would you try the contest on LinkedIn to attract some of your prospects to become leads and possible sales?
Yeah, I've done a challenge before. And thinking about it, I did it fully on LinkedIn itself instead of using my website as an interface. As you know, I started my own podcast last year, April this year, where I use my website as an interface, and I think I'll be doing that more. So to indeed to get people on my list, so I can email them and even inspire them even more. So I'll definitely look into it and work it out some more strategically.
That is great. Thank you so much for sharing. I see a raised hand, and I want to go to Ali before we move to the other guests. Ali, can you unmute yourself and ask the question or interact with us, whatever you wanted to say? Ali? Oh, I have a problem with the light. I'm sorry. Oh, it happens, you know. Sorry for that. Ali, did you wanted to ask a question? Or maybe not. Okay, so the second spotlight is Joel Baker. Joel, do you want to share about you and whom you work with, and what's your experience in the engagement circle?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks, Ramona, for having me today. It's a pleasure. So, well, I've only been with the engagement circle for a couple months, but I've been liking it. I found it's really nice to have some support whenever I do a post, or I've even met with a few different people and exchanged ideas and whatnot. So I think it's a really valuable way to meet people, make connections, and learn from each other.
So first of all, I want to ask you why do you think it's important to have a joint venture circuit on LinkedIn?
Why is it important to have an engagement circle on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Because I think that you know, there are so many people on LinkedIn. When you go to the feed, there are so many different posts and everything, and it's really easy for something that you posted to get lost in the mix, you know. But when you have the engagement circle, you know that you're going to have people actually, you know, interacting with it, and it's also helpful to get it, to have it a chance to go viral at some point as well.
Indeed. I think a lot of people don't really realize that LinkedIn requires a strategy, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed. It's really easy to get lost in the mist, and without a clear understanding on how to approach it and how to use it, you can actually lose the potential of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so also, can you also clarify with whom you're working? Is it with individuals or more with companies? And what's your strategy to approach them?
Right now, I'm primarily working with individuals. I am starting to contact different businesses as well to see, you know, what kind of potential there is there. But as of right now, I'm utilizing primarily InMails, and I'm trying to post more as well. But sometimes it's hard to be consistent with that.
Yeah, I understand that, and thank you very much for sharing, Joel. It's been a pleasure to listen to you today. How do you resonate with the B2C strategy, the contest, the giveaway? Does it make sense to you? It is something that you would give it a try?
Yeah. I'm thinking about what would be the best thing to give away. I don't know, you can tell me what you think. I was thinking possibly giving away a couple of my English fluency sessions, maybe. I'm not sure what the contest would be, what they would need to do, but I was thinking that could be something interesting to give away.
It really is interesting. It's an interesting question, and I want to address that. So you see, we often start from what we think they need, and it's not like it should be. We should create an idea to test them. So it depends on your audience. For example, if you're targeting executives that in this global environment, they have to present challenges in a perfect English because they are addressing, you know, their global team. Okay. And so the presentation, it is really important. Now, do you really want to look at what they need before you run a giveaway? And based on what they need, perhaps they need a check of their language proficiency, right? Or maybe they need to assess the quality of a speech. So the contest itself should be organized around that. So for example, you can give away an evaluation of a 2-minute pitch, or so you see, the way you run these competitions and giveaways should be based on the target audience. So again, it's B2C or B2B, analyzing your audience and choosing a specific group to target and present your offers is essential, is vital. Don't start from what's your idea. Get to know what's their need. That is so vital, so essential. Okay?
Okay. All right, makes sense.
Good, thank you. So I want to go to the third spotlight, which is Emilio Fiances from Spain. I don't know if I said right your name. Emilio, can you repeat that for
hi.
us? So
Yes, Emilio Fiances. But
Emilio
Fiances.
Fiances, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Can you share with me and with the audience what do you do and with whom, and what's your experience with the engagement circle?
Of course. Okay. As said, my name is Emilio Fiances. I come from Spain, but I'm already working as an actuary in the insurance industry since 17 years ago. Thereof, I would say around 15, I have been already in LinkedIn. Why I'm in LinkedIn or why I'm here in the engagement circles is that I already know from the as a passive user, so to say, how powerful LinkedIn can be. So, for example, my two biggest moves as an employee in the insurance industry were because of LinkedIn. So, and this was doing nothing else than doing a very decent, very complete and accurate copy paste of my CV in LinkedIn. So at the end, the power I already experienced the power of LinkedIn as an employee without being interactive at all. I would say I shared very few posts and mostly liking other posts and sometimes sharing with some comments. Let's say quite basic way of interacting with LinkedIn. So as I knew you, you offered me the possibility of being a part of this engagement circles in which I'm quite new, I would say, and to be fair, not very active in the last weeks, but I really appreciate the people that is inside there. I'm going to be more active from now on, and but I really appreciate very much the diversity of people that is a part of this engagement circle, professionals that I already have thought about. Oh, this could be very interesting to speak to. I would say ERWIN, for example, or Joel in the case of I would need some English classes or how to create a podcast, for example, for ERWIN, as a to be illustrative. There are more professionals like copywriters and experts in marketing that are very much more on track than me, that could help me to empower, to boost my personal brand, my leads. I mean, this is why I think this engagement circle can be really powerful if we use it correctly, if we follow your recommendations, Ramona, because there are a lot of them, and we need, at least I need a bit of time to assume all of them, but they're really enriching, and I only can thank you very much for all the information and the knowledge you are sharing.
Well, thank you for saying that. I share this information and practices because I believe in them. I tested them and I know they work, and it's only natural for me to share them with the network that I have on LinkedIn. I know that you are also moving into consultancy and you are approaching very big accounts. Now that's the plan, right? And
exactly.
so what did you understood about the ABM plus LinkedIn search and the hyper personalization? What really stayed with you?
Yeah, well, actually, what is the most important thing for me is that we can approach the right leads. For this, one of the things to be relevant in LinkedIn. So this is why the circle can be really useful. Because let's say working on the algorithm to let the algorithm know that I am a relevant person. This could also lead to have a better visibility within my contacts. And I would say over 1,000 contacts or so, being let's say decision makers. I don't know, but there is a hybrid model that we are working on, which is from one side B2B and from the other side B2C, and this B2C is let's say target are professionals in the insurance industry as well. And these are already some contacts in which I could have a very good traction in the sense of being visible to people that I already have in my contact list. So the most important for me is that LinkedIn understands that I am a relevant person for each of my or for each of the posts I'm going to prepare and show to the leads and to the contacts I'm interested for them to see.
Thank you so much for sharing. I saw some conversation going on in the chat box. Ali asking, can you please guide me about pitching proposals related to IT? Yes, I highly recommend you connect with ERWIN, which has specific expertise in that. If you are referring to the way you can propose in the IT field and create a buyer journey to get to those accounts and buying committees, well, then we can speak privately, and for sure I need to ask you more questions about that. Now, for those who remain into the call, how did you perceive today's content? Because I sometimes share strategies that are very easy to grasp, very simple, and sometimes I go more in depth with technical stuff because I have different audiences and I approach different strategies for those audiences. So today I went more into the technical part of it, using terminologies that were less common, but more industry specific, or let's say departments or role specific. So how did you perceive that? And would you like guys to receive information about what is an account-based marketing, what is hyper-personalization outreach, and how to do it? Would you like to learn more about that? Angelino, what do you think about today's You're still mute, Angelino, okay?
Yes, well, a lot of information that you just passed is new for me. And then I need to read more and understand a bit. I will listen to this recording later on and to see what, and then I will get to you in private to make more questions. Because I need because I'm really struggling with LinkedIn, and the fact that these strategies that you present, they are more for big companies, and I'm talking about a small, just one person, as you said, solopreneur. So I would like to see how can I engage my contacts to this kind of approach.
Indeed, indeed. And something that I want to share with you is that for a couple of years, we shared continuously content on how to engage. And so we have plenty of webinars and recordings on the same page that you will receive this recording. There's actually one recording for you, Angelino, that is called How to Create a Two-Step Funnel. Very simple funnel with LinkedIn. So that's such a great recording that I recommend you listen. And then as soon as you have that strategy in place, you can go back to this one to scale up. to go to bigger accounts and have even to sell bigger numbers, let's say, right?
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
what I'm yeah, great. So what I'm doing right now with my audience is I'm leveraging the previous knowledge. So you are up and running, you are implementing LinkedIn lead generation. Now I want you guys to think bigger. I want you to think how you can connect LinkedIn to a strategy that creates value inside your company and helps you to have either to negotiate bigger contracts or to approach new targets. So it's an evolution. I keep it simple usually, but this time I wanted to go more in depth, also to analyze what needs to be put out there in terms of education. So thank you so much for dealing with me today. If you have questions, you know that you can reach out to me. I will stay 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes here if you want to unmute yourself and ask me something else. Catherine, for example, Steve, Andrea, and Anik, I know you have a more technical knowledge about the stuff I discussed. So if you want to ask some questions, type them into the chat box or unmute yourself. I'll be glad to answer your questions if you have.
Thank you so much, Ramona. I need to leave, though. I've got another meeting. It was really insightful,
Indeed.
but of course, I need a bit more content. That would be nice. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Indeed.
nice evening. Bye.
Bye, Julia. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I have one question, Ramona.
Yep.
I heard another expert on marketing once saying that if you're connecting with customers, you need like 7 to 12 contact points before they are willing to buy for you. And with B2B, it's totally different. Although you're still working with people, how do you how would you say that the number of contact moments for B2B is different from B2C?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's a very clever question. So it depends on the tire. So for example, if I have a high executive, I need even more because statistics from HubSpot, the HubSpot platform is made to manage the buyer journey. Okay, so based on their stats, their analysis, you need up to 23 touch points in order to receive an answer, in order to be somehow in their picture, right? So it is true, 7 to 23, I would say. Now, when you think per account, you want to think a little bit different. So you need to create some touch points that are very generic. Like, for example, an industry event is a generic touch point. And then you need to think in terms of hyper-personalize it. So, for example, if I have a chief financial officer, I need to create a touch point with a white paper that is highly relevant for a chief financial officer. And for a chief technical officer, for example, a chief tech officer, it's really different, the content that I will share. But the industry event could be the same for both of them. So it's the approach that is different, right? Did I answer your question?
Oh, yeah, thanks, Ramona.
You're welcome. Okay, so are there other questions? Yes?
Yeah. Hi, Ramona.
Hi, Rajuna.
Yeah, I have been missing a lot of your sessions, but I still remember what your webinars about the LinkedIn navigators, about pillar page, about you said assets. So I'm slowly, it took me years to prepare all that, but I think my pillar page is done. I think my white paper is maybe done, just to get into this now account-based marketing, like you mentioned, right? Because I'm now doing consulting, and I decided to deglobalize, and I'm just going to do face-to-face kind of marketing after following this LinkedIn. So 100 kilometers down, 100 kilometers west, 100 kilometers north. That's all the area. So I can target a small factories, but I will make it very personalized and right. So that's my idea.
Yeah.
So I think this ABM and the LinkedIn prospecting is good way to start the process, and that 23 touch point is that's a lot. But
Indeed, but if you think so listen to this, right? So think like this. So you are targeting a very small area, okay? So let's say that in that area you have 35 companies. And in the 35 companies that you want to meet face to face, you have 75 people that compose the buying committees. So in one company are 3, in other company are 5. So those 75 people, you want to take them through a journey. And when I talk about a touch point, I talk about a moment where you engage with that person and share some sort of content. So a touch point is either a connect message on LinkedIn, that's a touch point.
yeah.
Sharing a link to an article that is relevant to an executive, that's a touch point.
Yep.
Sharing a link to your pillar page, that's another touch point. Webinar, it's a touch point. In meeting that person to a networking event, it's a touch point. So when you think in terms of touch point, think of moments where I can meet that person and show up as likable and trustable. So in order to show up like likable and trustable, you need to be of value. You need to remain relevant. So how do I help is the question. How do I help when I connect? How do I help when I send the message? How do I help when I invite them to an event? Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yes.
23 touch points is a very high executive. If you're talking about someone in marketing, maybe you need 5 to 7 touch points. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Thank you so much, Ramona. Always appreciate
You're
your
welcome.
advice.
Indeed. And congrats for taking this couple of years to implement everything that I discussed during the previous webinars. I congratulate on your pillar page. That's the advancement of marketing over there. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. So we are 5 minutes over the promised time. I'm so glad that I could deliver this presentation for you guys. I will be available for further discussion on LinkedIn. I will send you the recording, and I will also share with you some resources. The presentation and the PDF with the 2 strategies will be there. And yeah, I will invite you to the next one. Perhaps I will discuss what's ABM and what's hyper personalization, because we need to get into that. Right? Okay.
Definitely.
So have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Ramona. See you
or-
next time. Bye-bye.
See you next
All right.
time. Thank you all
Thanks.
for
Bye,
being
everybody.
here.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Ramona. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Erwin, Joel, Emilio, for being here. Thank you all,
My pleasure.
guys, from our engagement circle.
Good night. Have a good night.
Elena, thank you also for being here with us. Right. See you
Thank
next
you,
time.
Ramona. It was a great content that I got. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Ali,
you.
do you want
Bye.
to
Thank you, Ramona.
Ali,
It's
do you
a
want to
nice,
connect with sorry, say that again?
it's a nice discussion. Thank you so much
Great.
for your time.
Great, great. Okay, let's remain in touch. See you next time.
Yeah, sure.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.